Hey everyone, welcome back to another video from TechMag. I'm Kaveh, and in today's video we are going to talk about one of the most useful tools from Cloudflare, and it's called Zero Trust. Allow me to explain the actual use case of Cloudflare Zero Trust through two real-world examples. Let's say you have an embedded device at home. It can be an ESP, Raspberry Pi, or anything that controls smart home devices. The problem is that you cannot access this device from outside your network, like from work or university. Or maybe you have a powerful PC or a Mac mini at home, which is running image or text generation AI models on your personal database. And you simply can't reach that network from public internet, from outside your local network. So how do we handle this problem? There's an old way of doing this, and it would be pay for an static IP plan. And keep in mind that this only works on a home broadband connection, and it doesn't work on mobile or SIM network. So if your ESP or your Raspberry Pi is working with a SIM network, it wouldn't work with this old solution. Then you would still have to deal with port forwarding, firewall, and all the security headaches that comes with it. And this is exactly where Cloudflare Zero Trust comes in handy. Here's what we are going to talk about in this video at a high level. First, we install a background agent called Cloudflared on your machine. And this works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, so it doesn't matter which OS you're working with. And then you pass this Cloudflare service, your identification token, which connects it to your Cloudflare account. And then you simply tell Cloudflare that map port 22 or some other port to a certain subdomain. And from that point on, whenever you want to SSH into your device, you just SSH to your own domain. And no static IP is needed here. Or if you are running, for example, Ollama on your device, which uses port 11434 as its API by default. So you just map that port to something like, I don't know, ollama.mypersonaldomain.com, and that's it. So every time you want to make a request to your LLM API, you just request it to your own subdomain, and then it connects to your home PC, and it gets the information and the thing that you want and give it to you through Cloudflare servers for free, of course. So before you start this tutorial, you at least need a domain for yourself, which is less than $5 a year. So you can buy it from some websites. I will leave those websites in the description so you can check them out and buy a domain for yourself. Once you have your domain, you need to transfer your DNS management over to Cloudflare. So you do this by updating your domain's name servers, of course. Unfortunately, I won't be covering this step today since this is a whole separate topic, but I'll drop some useful tutorials in the description below, where you can find it and connect your domain to Cloudflare. So now we are going to head over to our computer and we are going to work with Cloudflare. So of course you need to have a Cloudflare account, and I'm gonna show you the rest of the steps in my computer. So let's go. So once you are in your Cloudflare dashboard, just go to the left side and click on Zero Trust. Once you're in Zero Trust page, go to the left side, click on Networks, and then click on Connectors. In this page, click Add a Tunnel, and then click on Cloudflare D, which is recommended, of course. And then select a name like this, like it can be anything. So I just chose Ollama Windows for my tunnel. Click on Save Tunnel. Once you are here, Cloudflare tells you to install the latest version of Cloudflare D on your device. If you're on Windows, you can download this one, which is a link here. If you're on Ubuntu or Debian, you can use this command here. If you're on Mac, there's a command also here. And if you're on Docker or any other device, you can also use any of these. So I'm just going to download this and install it. I have it installed, but I want to update it as well. So after you have installed Cloudflare D on your system, make sure to open a PowerShell or a terminal with administrator access, or if you're on Linux, it should have sudo access, of course. As you can see in the step 4, I need to copy and run this command on PowerShell, but this command includes a certain token that represents my account. So once you have installed Cloudflare D on your system, make sure to open PowerShell or terminal with administrator or sudo access. If you're on Linux, you need sudo access, and if you're on Windows, you need administrator. So just search PowerShell and then click right, run as administrator, and you have it right here. Then as you can see on step 4, there's a command. So I'm just gonna copy this command, which includes a token to my account. And then I'm gonna paste it right here. Once I entered this, since I've already installed Cloudflare D on my system, it gives me an error. So it's pretty straightforward. It tells me that there is already a service installed for another tunnel on this system. So if you want to use another tunnel, you have to uninstall the last one. So I'm just gonna write the command Cloudflare D service uninstall. So it removes the last token. And then I'm gonna run the same command again, and it's install. Once you have seen these 3 commands, it means that the service is running perfectly. As you can see here in the connector section, my device is already connected. The version is up to date. If it's not up to date, you will receive a warning here that you have to update it. So once you have done this and you saw your system and your service right here and the status is connected, hit next. And in this page, you have to select a certain subdomain for your system. If you have your domain registered on Cloudflare, you should see it right here. As you can see, this is my domain. I select it. And as subdomain, I just write, I don't know, Ollama. Yeah, it would be ollama.cloudflare.tech. If you have a path for your URL or something, you can enter it here. And it asks you about the service, that which service you are going to be using for this tunnel. Since I'm going to use this for an API, then it would be HTTP. And I don't have any SSL certification on my own local system, so I'm not using HTTPS at the moment. If I want to use it for SSHing to a certain device, I would use SSH protocol. And it highly depends on your device and the thing that you are going to do with this tunnel. So I'm just going to choose HTTP. And the port to access Ollama API is 11434. I'm just going to write localhost 11434. So I'm just going to hit complete setup. And then it says a certain domain already exists with this name. So I have to go over and delete this, but just change this domain to Ollama 2. Just hit complete setup. And it says successfully created everything. So everything is fine. And the status is actually healthy. So as you can see, my Ollama service is running here. So if I go to another tab and I write ollama2.cloudflare.tech, it says Ollama is running, but there is a problem. There is still a problem. So this actually means that I've exposed my Ollama API server on the public internet without any protection. And this allows everyone to request to my API and use my laptop CPU and GPU in order to, run their agents. So this is not what we are looking for. And here now I'm going to teach you how to add an extra layer of protection to your API or to your subdomain. In this part of the video, we're still going to be using a certain feature in Zero Trust application of Cloudflare. And this allows you to add different kind of authentication to your services. So if you are exposing a certain website or a web page, you can add a one-time password or OTP to email. But if you're using an API like me, you can add token to the header of your request and then it would be authorized. So now I'm going to teach you how to use it on an API, like how to add token or a secret as your authentication method. Now, once you are in the Zero Trust page again, go to access controls and then go to service credentials. So here you can create token for your services. So when you make an HTTP request to your server, you have to add this token to the header of the request so it gets authorized by Cloudflare servers. So you click on create service token, then you set a name for it and then a duration. So I'm just going to click on non-expiring and then generate token. Once you have generated the token, it will show you the token right here. As you can see, there's a client ID and there's a client secret. So you have to copy both of them, but this is a one-time thing. This is basically your password. So I'm just gonna copy this one here and copy this one here. We're gonna use this later on to test our API. So once you have copied these two, we head over to the applications tab. Here you can create an application in order to connect it to your subdomain, and then you tell this application that you have to use this policy in order to let users make a request. So click on add an application, make sure the self-hosted and private is selected, not the other options. We click on continue, write down our subdomain, select our domain, and that's it. Now we have to create a new policy. So once we click on create new policy, write a name for your policy. I wrote test policy. And the action should be service auth. Once you have selected service auth, so head over to here and make sure that service token is selected. Then in the drop down here, you see all the tokens that you have created. I'm just going to click on test 2 and include it here. But if you want to add other tokens, you can also add multiple tokens. Then you will scroll down a bit and click save policy. So as you can see, the policy is created here and your app is also here. So you just have to give it the subdomain and domain. And then you can hit create. Now let's test and see if we can access the same URL without any token. As you can see, Cloudflare stopped us from accessing the same page. But I want to include my token in my request and make an HTTP request to my model and see how it works. Now, as you remember, I have already saved my client ID and secret somewhere, including this curl request to my domain. So I have to make sure that the domain is correct. So everything is correct here. I have to copy and paste it here. It's the same, but I'm just gonna make sure nothing is wrong. And then I copy this curl. As you can see, it's requesting to my Ollama API, asking why is the sky blue. So I'm just gonna paste the request in git bash and hit enter. As you can see, I'm receiving a response from my API, word by word is being answered. But now I'm gonna do something else. Just gonna remove some of the text and then repeat the request. And as you can see, the same page appeared, but in HTML, of course. And this means that we cannot have access to our API or URL without authorization. All right, that's everything that I had for you in this video. I hope you found it useful. And if you have any questions about Cloudflare Zero Trust, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to reply as soon as possible. I will see you in the next video.